Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Room. You sitting here with your man, not your boy, Big Bro Chris. And along with me, you already know she's in the house. We got our beautiful co-host, Miss Joy.
Hey, what's up? What's up, blacksmiths? Peace and love to you. I hope that you're feeling good because I'm feeling oh so good.
Yeah, Sunday. Nice, easy day.
It
It's a beautiful day.
is.
It's been a beautiful weekend. And yeah, we're glad to be back with y'all out there. And we're going to step right into it. On this day, today,
On this day today.
in let me see if I can go by memory. Nope. In 1956, on this day, November 13th, 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled race separation on buses in Alabama unconstitutional. Yeah, unconstitutional.
Wow.
So when Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and all and you know the whole coalition came together to boycott those buses, it got a lot of attention nationally and ultimately resulted in this Supreme Court ruling.
Hmm.
And so that
Wow.
and so that's a powerful example, um, going towards the power of solidarity and boycotting. Miss Joy, you were talking about that last episode, last podcast about boycott, the power of boycott, the power of withdrawing your support,
Hmm.
your economic support for a company or a corporation or a business. It goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. It speaks because money is what money is that universal language. But unfortunately, with that comes the respect. Right? It's not even really respect. It's respect for the money that we're giving off. But if we pull that away, we pull that energy. That's where we get things like this happening.
That's
Where
right.
they pass these laws, where they reform them. So there's a lot of things we need to withdraw our energy from at this point. We need a whole reformation. But things like that, that's what actually gives me hope, knowing what our people actually like trudge their feet through for us to even be able to, now we're using now is mainly people of color using the transits,
Yeah, you're
well,
right.
at least what I see in like the inner cities. I know that they use them to get place to place because of traffic, but really, so
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah, when we bind
yes.
together, towards a certain cause, we have great power, and that's evidenced in this 1956 Supreme Court ruling, and it should be evidence for us to go forward with the same strategy if need be,
Mhm.
when we come up against issues. So
Mhm.
let us never forget this example.
We need to research our past. We need to look at what they were doing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It came up with results. So, all we gotta do is look not too far back into the past to see what the
Mhm.
ancestors was doing to get shit done. So, on this day, we definitely want to pay homage to those efforts in
Yes.
1956. Mr. Joy, you also want to shed light on the special day that we're celebrating this weekend?
Yeah, I wanted to shed light on Veterans Day, in observance of those who have fought in the wars, who have put themselves on the front line, who have left their families. You know what I'm saying? Some returning, some never returning. A lot of them being men of color. I want to, pay homage and acknowledge them. We had Veterans Day on November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's very important because I see a lot of them in the streets of Los Angeles, just not getting enough care. I used to live in a neighborhood in Inglewood where it was just tents everywhere. And they're just misplaced veterans who didn't have the proper treatment for mental health, maybe other benefits, not just medically, but other benefits to help them push forward. So, yeah, I wanna pay homage to those people because my ass ain't never joining no military
like you said,
ever.
like you said last episode, you're gonna send Gina on to fight the war.
Right,
and take,
right. Go,
and take
Gina. It's your birthday. I'll take care of Greg.
right. Yeah, but now you're right. You're 100% right about the neglect that we've shown our veterans over the decades. You see a lot of those people on the street right now, and it's like the biggest contradiction ever, um, where we put all this effort and honestly, it's propaganda in getting people
Right.
to join the service, go and protect our country, and then when you get back over here, um, it's a fucking high five, and then you're on your own, seemingly so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, in order for us, there's so many different different areas where the country has failed its citizens, and this is a
Mm,
major area. Talking about mental health, there's got to be not too many more examples or situations in which mental health care is needed in one area of citizenship than our
mhm.
veterans. You go off to war and see friends and peers of yours getting picked off by machine guns and all that. That's traumatic. It's traumatic.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
PTSD is real. And so yeah, we got to really step up. The government needs to step up and see to it that some of these or all
Especially,
these veterans are getting that mental health that they need,
yeah.
those mental health services.
Yeah, you see we can only imagine what those people have seen. I've spoken with people when I graduated high school. It was in 2003. I think I told y'all, 9/11 was 2001.
Mhm.
So everything was active then. Everybody who I was in school with, men and women, they went into the military.
Hmm.
And some of them came back a few years, just
Hmm.
not not the same. I will
Right.
say that, not the same. I've spoken to a few people that I was close to who they shared stories of how their lives were spared, on the front line, the gun was on them. They were ready, but whoever it was had mercy on them. So you experience these things and you can't really tell them to people. You come back different because you see a different perspective of life for years than other people see. And you come back and we expect you to be this same person. These people need to be treated with care. There needs to be a special group, a special society, and especially the government to go and support these people and not just have a national holiday, set
Right.
Veterans Day. And I know that there are probably private sector people who really care, nonprofit organizations who contribute, but there needs to be more because it's too many homeless veteran people on the street. It's too many of them. I'm sure that have probably ended up on Skid Row, and that's just here in California. We're not talking about, other places. So, I myself, I would even like to do better with paying my homage to those people. Eventually would like to have some kind of service to give, some type of mental health service. It's really important.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would argue that you shouldn't have to, and I don't even think that's a
I
very
know what you mean.
hard argument to make. Like, you shouldn't
Yeah,
have to. I shouldn't have to. No individual should have
right,
to do more than our government is doing for these veterans. They are,
right,
you're talking about donating to an outside fund. You've already donated in the form of your taxes. Your taxes are supposed to be
right,
going towards taking care of these veterans. So again, I
right.
always pose this question: U.S. government, what are you doing with my money? If it's not going towards helping these people out and all the other allocated services that it's supposed to be going towards, you know what I mean? We shouldn't have to be going towards
Totally agree,
nonprofit
Chris.
organizations or digging into our pocket to help these veterans out. What we need to be doing is asking our congressmen and women, what the hell y'all doing with our money? You know?
Straight up.
in 2014 there was a scandal with the VA. I can't recall what it was, but I think it was a diversion of that money that never made it to where it was supposed to end up. I think, and it was a long time ago. That was what, 8 years
I
ago.
wouldn't
So I would
doubt
have
it.
to Yeah,
Yeah.
Obama came under. I remember Obama was receiving a lot of flack for it because it was happening during his administration. But I mean, honestly, and this ain't even trying to cover with him. It don't matter who's in the presidency. The government is going to operate 90% of the time the same. You know, a new president comes in, changes 10% of things here and there, but for the most part, this is not indicative of that administration. It's indicative of the government itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's why there needs to be a whole reformation, you know? It's not just like one, it's like the whole thing, you know, but that's a whole octopus with 8 fucking legs, and like you gotta cut off each leg. That's a battle right there, you know. But it definitely need, like, things like this. It needs to be brought up more and as often as possible, you know, because they do need that care. So I'm happy to pay homage to our veterans on this day. It's not November 11th; it's November 13th now, but still, on this day today, you know, homage to those men and women. I have some in my family, and like I said, I couldn't do it, but you know, thank you for serving for all of us. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Speaking on Veterans Day, that's going to lead us into our first segment, which is Black veterans.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Yeah. So, you know, I did some light research. I really wish I could have gone a little deeper back into history, U.S. history, that is. But Black people, we fought in every single war, from the Revolutionary War in 1774, whenever it started, ended in 1776. I know that. But you know, I believe his name was Atticus Finch. I might have that last name wrong, but Atticus, damn, is that the character from To Kill a Mockingbird?
I was gonna say it's
wait, no. So the brother I'm thinking about, his name is Crispus Atticus, something like that. Forgive me for that. But he's a historical figure because he was the first man, he was the first casualty in the British U.S. I guess the animosity that was building up in between the two nations, and so his death was actually it was kind of the fuse that was lit that propelled us into the Revolutionary War, I believe. Yeah. So that was a brother.
wow.
Crispus. Let me, you know what, this is gonna
Crispus Atticus. That was it.
Crispus Attucks, a multiracial man. So he has some white in him, I suppose, who had escaped slavery, is known as the first American, not first Black American, the first American colonist killed in the American Revolution.
They made sure they was like, we ain't gonna tell you what he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you know that from the very inception of the nation, we have been involved in its wars. I was not able to get any information on the Civil War, but as we all know, people on the South and North were enlisted to fight that war.
And you know, they had us in so many wars that didn't even involve us just because they needed the bodies.
Well, of course. I mean, honestly, I would argue that most wars are fought like that, regardless of race. You know, if a government needs a war won, they don't care who they have to enlist. That, you know what I mean? It's just you become a number at that point.
Yeah,
you become a number. We need 30,000 soldiers to, like, I think D-Day, they sent out like, gosh, it was thousands of soldiers, many of whom were killed. I think like 10 seconds within stepping off the boat.
Wow.
Thousands, you know, because it was bad. All you need to do is watch Saving Private Ryan to get.
You know what? I could never get through that movie when I first watched it. I'm gonna try and watch it. It was just too much for me.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's,
Yeah,
especially that scene. That scene is one of the best scenes of war scenes, in my opinion, ever recorded. Um,
yeah.
but but yeah, I mean, the unfortunate thing about war, which is why I'm so anti-war, uh,
Me
if
too.
if you could put me in that category, is because unfortunately, a lot of soldiers that get enlisted are simply used as pawns for the greater good. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like when you're playing chess, you know, LJ, you know this. Those pawns, for the most part, you know, you use as sacrificial pieces just to kind of further your strategy. You know what I mean? And so that's why we do need to pay homage to those veterans, because a lot of them are sacrificed for the greater good of our nation. Um, and you know that those veterans are better than me. I'll tell you that much. You know,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
salute them. But moving on, past the Civil War, and this is where I actually have some numbers and statistics. World War One, when we fought Spain. I'm sorry, I'm tripping over my words so much right now. Blacksmiths, forgive me. World War One, we had 380,000 Black veterans fighting that war, and the cold part about that war was that this was a time in our nation. I think we entered that war in 1917,
Mm.
possibly 1916. And 1917 was the start, and I might have this wrong too, but I believe between 1917 and 1919, even 1920, was a series of red summers, if you guys are familiar with that,
Mhm.
where there was an uptick, a huge uptick, an exponential uptick in black lynchings. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So Black Wall Street, that I believe that was in July of 1920. That was just one
Wow.
of the many neighborhoods and towns that were succeeding in America at the time, that were burned down, rampage, raided, and
Yeah, wasn't that the weren't
ransacked.
that